r/AskReddit.
Reddit.
What is something that your parents did that you swore never to repeat to your own kids? I have two. Making fun of their interests and hobbies. It's why I don't like showing anyone my artwork. But I will do anything to support my kids and encourage them. If they tell me something in confidence, I'm not using that as a topic of conversation with others. Tell my parents anything and everyone knows. My mom just couldn't understand why I was getting mad when she was telling any Yahoo at Walmart the whole story of events leading up to my divorce. Both are why my mom wonders why I don't tell her anything. I don't want that for my kids. And I want to give a big hug to everyone who has responded with their own experiences. Let's all go live our dreams. Getting your genuine interests mocked and belittled is the worst. Especially when they compare it to things they'd rather you do with your time. Do you know how good of a blank player you'd be if you put a shred of the effort into sport I don't want to play, that you put into hobby item, costs how much? Do you know what you can buy with that money? You could get thing that make parent happy, and thing that I hate but can't tell them. Well, I had a stepmother who insisted God was punishing my dad for being mean to her while blood was flowing out of his mouth, eyes and nose. Then refused to drive him to the hospital. That always seemed like something I'd want to avoid. Any friends I would make, she would tell me I couldn't hang out with them because of X reason. She grounded me for 6 months because I forgot to take out one of the trashes. Not that it mattered, I wasn't allowed to go anywhere anyway. There was one time that I had to stand in a corner in my underwear without heat because she heard a noise that woke her up, and obviously it was me. Once I confessed I could go, I ended up lasting about 18 hours of insisting it wasn't me. Ugly crying in the corner till like 3 AM at 8 years old. I had to endure 10 years of that because she kept emptying my dad's bank account every time I got paid so he couldn't afford a divorce lawyer. I hated that woman. What an absolute sack of shit. I'm so sorry you endured that. She was absolutely evil. Try to be controlling over my kid's life and blame all their problems on the other parent. Dude, when I was 15, my dad, an MD, decided to have a meeting with me to discuss my future and make a choice what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a programmer so bad. I love that shit. So I said programming, software engineering. He went on for over an hour how that profession is lame and you will always be behind the scenes unrecognized. This was back in 2004, how wrong was he? So, I didn't know what to tell him. I remember my cousin, who was a few years older at the time, told me accounting would be a good fit for me if I didn't know what to pick. It would be easy for me and I'd fly through my degree. So I remembered that and said, alright, I'll go into accounting. He literally exploded in my face, yelling and shouting, how can I throw my future away? I was scared of him. I never was close to him. He barely spent time with me my entire life. This grown-ass man was never there for me but decided to control my life. I knew what he wanted me to say, I just wanted the yelling and shouting to stop and I wanted him to calm down. So, I said defeatedly, okay, I'll be a doctor. He immediately turned around, smiled happy and congratulated me. I felt what it's like to have a part of me die that day. I wasted 3 years of life on med school before I was like, fuck this shit, got depressed and asked my sister to help me convince him to transfer over to engineering school, but my life was never the same. And my psyche was changed as well. I easily give up now, more irritable, can't sleep well at all, etc. So I get what you mean. My kids will choose what they want to be even if it's fucking curly. Do me a favor, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification. If he didn't want an answer, why did he pose it as a question about what you want? Would have been more honest to just order you to be a doctor. If you fail, it's on him. Use them as leverage against the other parent. Abuse them, allow them to be abused by a significant other, abandon them, then return years later once they've grown and try to cause them as much pain as possible for who knows why. I have 4 sons and I genuinely can't imagine doing most of what happened to me to them. Blows my mind. Did your parents battle over who would get to claim you as dependents on their taxes too? Didn't expect to wake up to so many other people with the same experience. That's extremely sad. Ooh, is a big one for me. I'm so disappointed in it. Mom makes up to 6 figures while dad makes 30,000. Mom asks him for money back on the taxes because she let him have the 3 kids as dependents. So fucked up. Lecture. My mom could go on for hours for even small misbehaviors. Somehow, It usually looped around to how I didn't keep my room clean, even though the rest of the house was just as much of a mess or worse. When I need to have a stern or serious discussion with my kids, I force myself to make my point in 5 minutes or less. I've even said stuff like, "Look, this is taking way too long, just don't do this loud thing again, okay?" I also apologize if I yell, as soon as I am emotionally able to after an angry outburst. I don't remember mom ever doing that. I received so many lectures that went on for ages while just repeating the same things over and over again. It was so frustrating to hear something said for the 14th time asked if I understood, and even when the yes answer was given the lecture still continued. This is so relatable. If I were to tell my mom that she was going on and on about something little, she would only start complaining even louder frown. I was spanked. I thought I'd grow up and spank too because I ended up okay and thought that's how you correct kids. But then as I got older I thought back to how I'd deal with other kids who made me mad or wouldn't listen to me. I hit them. It clicked that this wasn't what I needed to do. Judgmental behavior. I want my kids to know that I truly love them because of who they are and not feel like they have to hit certain parts of who they are because they're afraid I won't care about them anymore. Refuse to admit I was wrong. The only semblance of an apology I've ever received from my mother was, "I'm sorry you feel that way." I don't think she's ever actually apologized or taken blame for her actions in my 30-odd conscious years. Do me a favor, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification. If I ever outsmarted my mom it was considered attitude. I get her thought process. She of course had been around longer than a 13-year-old. So clearly there's nothing I could say to her she didn't already know, and she obviously knows better than me. My mom also never apologized. If it ever became clear she was in the wrong, she'd laugh and say she didn't remember saying that, or I must have had some sort of attitude and that's why she acted upset. That is not the philosophy I will bring to my kids. It's gonna be a learning experience for the both of us. My dad would get mad at me sometimes too, and a lot of those times were warranted, and a lot were not. Anytime I proved him wrong he'd apologize immediately, and leave it at that. One time when I was around 15 we were both being dickheads and didn't speak for a night. In retrospect I was a main dickhead but he was a close second. He came in the next day and apologized anyway. He told me he was the adult in the situation and he hadn't been. He hated things being off with us, and he loved me. That is exactly how I hope to be with my kids. Learning about and trying to apply stoicism really helped me as a parent. Kids can be annoying. It's easy to fly off the handle and get mad. But most of the time they don't mean to be, they're just kids. The thing that stuck with me is the idea that there are two ways to react to any situation, a good way and a bad way. And we always have a choice to which we go with. It's one of the few things we do have a choice over our thoughts and actions. So, strive to always choose a good way, and you'll be a better parent and person for it. Ooh, that hits close to home. I finally had enough and told her of herself and her response was "I'm sorry for whatever you misunderstood." It only pissed me off more. I sometimes find myself getting mad at not moving out sooner, but I'm kind of a live in the moment person. This was going to be the year and well, we'll see how the rest of 2020 goes. This should be way higher up on the list. Parents are infallible, insisting you're asinine. Parents can provide teaching moments by admitting, explaining, and apologizing for their mistakes. Children should know that learning from your mistakes is one of the fastest paths to personal growth. Get loaded in front of them. Growing up in a family of drunks had soured me for the most part of drinking even socially. I do partake occasionally but not often. Deep down I feel alcoholism is in my genetics so I steer clear unless the occasion is perfect. Man, I'm struggling so much with this. Borderline alcoholic. Once I start, I find it very hard to stop. Day 5 of being sober. Edit. Wow guys. I woke up for work this morning and my inbox was chocked full of supportive messages and awards. Means a lot. I will not drink today. Thank you. God, am I ever in the same boat? Beat me up. Constantly comparing myself to other people's kids and belittling my own achievements. That's just the equivalent of comparing your parents' wages, house or job with other kids' parents. My parents always did this to me and then got really offended if I tried to do it to them. Like if I dared mention a friend going on vacation, they'd be super offended at the comparison when it wasn't even that. It really sucked to frown. The thing people tend to hate the most is seeing their own negative traits in other people. Definitely mate, there will always be someone better than you at something. It's not right to shoot down your kids' achievements when they have honestly tried their best with comments like, "Oh, you got a 3.5 GPA? Andy May's little boy got 4.0 and 10 scholarships." That's like telling your parents, "Why don't we have a mansion, Lamborghini, and you pay for my summer holidays in Europe like my rich college friends." Be unapproachable. Come talk to me anytime about anything. Everything can be fixed. My mom was super liberal with a belt. She was also very religious and very judgmental, but she still have the nerve to always be like, "Why don't you talk to me about things?" Willing to bet she also denies any belt beatings too. My son hides things from his mom and waits until he can tell me because she won't respond appropriately. He lost a video game, and was lying to her about having lost it, but was so scared that she would find out he was lying. He told me in the car when I picked him up, and I told her I needed to look for something of his that he wanted. All he ended up doing was having it wedded in his game case where he couldn't see it. My 6-year-old was giving himself anxiety because of his stupid Nintendo Switch game because his mom would have belittled and spanked him instead of helping look for it. It breaks my heart. Edit, we're divorced. Edit 2, I'm getting entirely too much advice from what are obviously children, and wanting me to violate court orders or to report spankings as abuse. I'm also sorry some of you feel I'm a bad parent because I can't get sole custody and take away his mother's visitation. The real world is different from Reddit, folks. My mom at least had always done this. I would spend an hour looking for something until she got mad and said, "I swear if I find this you're in big trouble." The whole time she would yell at me on how stupid I was till she exploded when she found it, and eventually I would have to apologize, which made her even worse. It may not seem like much, but after a while you learn to hide small and big struggles so she doesn't explode. My parents would take things I had left on the counter or in the open, and when I would go back for it and start looking would interrogate me about where it was until giving it back to me and telling me to keep up with my things hours later. Oh hi there, you don't know me but we must be siblings because I swear we have the same parents. It took me going to college to realize that I didn't lose things or constantly misplace them. My memory of where I put things is in fact very good. It's when other people move it, hide it, then yell at me for losing it only for it to reappear somewhere else that I have issues with. I'm glad to not be the only one, but also a bit sad, I think. I can't tell sometimes, but I understand what you went through. Biggest fattest lie my mom ever told me. Always told me I could trust her with anything. The time came when I wanted to come out as bi. Told me that I was a sexual deviant and can take care of myself from now on since I was thinking of sex. Practically had to beg and kiss her feet to not kick me out. I said it was all a lie. Mind you, I was 17 at the time. The worst part is that she claimed that my sexuality depressed her because she wanted a daughter to fuck a man and have kids. I don't know if I'll ever fuck a man, nor do I want kids. Edit. Guys, I am bisexual. All I'm saying is that I may have or may not end up with a man. Subscribe to the channel and check out more Reddit videos here by me, Reddit Robin.